Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm going to start off today's episode with a quote that I think is very telling as to why men are really hesitant to marry. And that is that men will sacrifice their happiness for their family, but women will sacrifice their family for their happiness. I know that this resonates, especially if you have seen my last video on the story of a woman that really regrets her divorce. If you guys missed my last video, I recommend going back and checking it out because it is a very telling story, something that happens all too often. And I think it's happening more and more because women are initiating divorce for potentially bad reasons, right? They're not good enough reasons, I would say. They're reasons in which they think the grass is going to be greener, but then when they get to the other side, it isn't. And that is what happens to this one woman that ends up regretting her divorce because she talks about her husband being a good man, being a good provider. Basically, he's doing 90% of what she would want in a man, but he's lacking 10%. And she ends up so focused on that 10% that she divorces him. She looks for that 10% in other men. Well, needless to say, you can guess what happened. She ended up missing that 90% that she had already had, and she ends up trying to seek that out. Meanwhile, her ex-husband finds somebody that appreciates him and he moves on and he seems to be happy. And then she turns around, his ex-wife turns around and wants to give it another go. And then she gets upset that he doesn't want to. This episode is a part 2 to dive a little bit deeper into this issue of women that are initiating divorce for reasons that are not the greatest. And these are stories that I'm hearing from you men. You're leaving it in the comments. You're emailing me. You're telling me the stories of your girlfriend, your fiance, your wife that you have a commitment with that then breaks it off and ends up later regretting it. I have a bunch of comments that I want to go through today, mostly of men, but I'm gonna save my favorite for last, and it's actually from a woman. Before we get started, guys, remember to like this video and subscribe if you haven't yet to catch my videos every Friday. This man right here says, what's really great is that she already said she's been on dates, but was upset that he was dating. Like he was supposed to sit around and do nothing while she's a train operator. Absolutely. This is one of those situations where like a woman could break it off with you and then go off and have however many boyfriends after you, but then she gets upset, you know, that you even looked at a girl with some level of attraction. It's not fair. And what's crazy is the amount of replies under this comment that I'm not showing you here, but so many people have experienced the same thing. Here's a different perspective of someone that is not going through it themselves, but they're watching it happen in their neighborhood. A lady a few houses down is going through this and it's not going well. I feel so awful for her kids. She's dating a dirtbag guy now, and I fear she'll be going further downhill. When you really think about a woman leaving a good man, leaving a stable marriage for the wrong reasons, and that's not to say that there's right reasons, okay? Because I do think that there's right reasons. But when she does it for the wrong reasons, that's very telling of her morals and her beliefs and just how she lives her life. So if she's kind of doing that, that is sort of going down that slippery slope. So I'm not surprised. No one should be surprised that if somebody initiates something like that for not the right reasons, that they're going to end up going down further, unless they have a point in which they have an aha moment and they put the brakes on, which that does happen, right? It sounds like the lady in the original story that I told, she might be putting the brakes down because she realizes she's hitting that regret. She feels the regret. And that's actually probably a good thing, right? That she might be able to just sit in that emotion and learn from it. When a woman refuses to take accountability and they're refusing to look in the mirror and see what they did wrong it's really hard not to continue down that downward slope unless you just get lucky. Here's another man that commented, I am so glad she left and it feels so good not providing and protecting her. I learned I don't need someone to be happy. I have peace and that's happiness. No one making my life a living double hockey sticks. This is very true where a relationship can be heavy, right? It's not easy. It's not easy to be in a long-term relationship. And if you come to the point where you're the only one trying and the other person wants out, I don't blame a man for having this perspective, for feeling like a weight is lifted, because you were probably carrying that marriage for all too long. Another very similar comment, one thing I realized after having my life torn to pieces is that no matter how much you love someone, you can learn not to love them. Oh, that is the truth, guys. If you're struggling right now getting over anyone, you will. It's eventually going to happen, especially when they've done something extremely hurtful to you, because the person that's really them is not who you imagine them to be in your head. And it's really the person that you imagine them to be in your head that you were in love with and might still be in love with, but you just have to realize that that person is not that person in your head. Another man commented, firsthand right here happened. 15 years later, she is still single and angry. This is oftentimes how karma and the universe works. Again, I don't think it's by chance, right? It's how somebody lives their life. It's their beliefs, it's their morals, and at some point they're going to keep hitting the wall and you're going to see it. You're going to be detached from them and they're going to be doing it all on their own. But what really bugged me about the original story, and what I think bugged a lot of you guys, was when the ex-wife turned around and tried to come back. But not only that she had a problem that her ex-husband didn't want to give it a try again. Honestly, I question the intentions. I question whether or not she really wanted him back for him and who he was as a person and what she missed in the relationship, versus she wanted to ruin his life again by pulling that other woman that he's seemingly happy with. Like she wanted to have some sort of control over that and to potentially try to make him do something that would separate him from that happiness and from that new woman. Because let me tell you, when things are unresolved, when you're having regrets and you're not realizing that it's all your fault, really, that you're trying to fix it, you're trying to control the situation, and you're trying to go back to what it was. And now all of a sudden, this new person is kind of in the way. And unfortunately, that new person is probably going to have it rough for a little while, especially if there's children involved and there's co-parenting involved. Like that ex-wife is probably going to just not like that woman for no good reason. With that being said, here's another man that commented, my ex-wife sent me a photo of her on a date 2 days after she asked for a separation. She then spent the next 3 years asking why I didn't fight for her. And then that man also put in there, yep, when she asked why I'm moving on instead of fighting, I sent her the photo she sent me. I'm just glad it happened earlier in the marriage than later. She did max out all of my credit cards though. Yeah, that's a woman that is just trying to use him. And he saw it, right? He caught it. And I think he made the right move. The fact that she tried he didn't want to give us another chance when she divorced him, yeah, it's laughable. It's absolutely laughable. Okay, last comment from a man, and then we're going to get to the really good one that a woman made. I thoroughly enjoy that my ex-wife regrets wanting a divorce. I can't be happier. I found someone that gives back what I put in, and it's amazing. Don't give up, fellas. There's still good women out there. I love this. I love this because it's true. Because when something terrible happens to you guys, like a divorce, you can turn your life around. Whether that's just pouring into yourself and making your happiness the top priority, along with, any kids that you might have from the prior marriage, Like, just pour into it, pour into yourself, pour into the right things, do the right things, make the healthy habits, make the improvements of your life. If you do that, there's only good that is at the end of that road. You are going to find happiness. A final comment by a woman. I just love this. I cry when I think about how hard my husband works so I'm able to stay home with our son, because I'm just so grateful. I get marriage isn't always easy, but breaking your vows because you're bored! Exclamation mark, question mark. Exactly, guys. This is the type of woman. This is the type of woman that you need in your life. This is the only type of belief system, morals that you should be marrying. And unfortunately, it can be a little bit difficult to find. I think that it needs to be your top priority before deciding on marriage to find somebody with this type of perspective, that vows are extremely, extremely important to them. Someone that knows that relationships can get tough and that you really can work through everything and anything. That's also why I recommend having a long period of time in which you're dating or engaged or both before deciding on marriage, because you need to go through some amount of hard times. You need to see how you balance each other and how you react and how you work through things. Guys, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Leave it in the comments what you think. Let me know your experiences, and I will see you next week.